Do the unexpected. I'm a contrarian by nature, I know. Tell me what everyone else does, what's the consensus, and what's popular, and I will typically do the opposite. If someone is zigging, I'm gonna zag. To me, what's popular is average. It's what's common. Common things deliver common results. The most popular restaurant is McDonald's. The most popular drink is Coca-Cola. The most popular beer is Budweiser. The most popular wine is Frenzia. Yeah, the stuff that comes in a box. Consume those popular things and you'll be part of the common average pack. But that's ordinary. That's not There's nothing wrong with ordinary. I just prefer to shoot for extraordinary. For instance, everyone sends Christmas cards, but since everyone does it, it doesn't really have much emotional impact in my opinion. So I choose to send Thanksgiving cards instead. How many Thanksgiving cards do you get? Exactly. It makes a statement. And instead of bulk printed, computer generated best wishes cards, I handwrite personal sentiments expressing how grateful I am for my relationship with that person and what he or she means to me. Same effort, but a much greater impact. Richard Branson built his career on doing the unexpected. I love to watch him launch a new company. Each stunt is bolder, scarier, and more unexpected than the last. Whether it's flying a hot air balloon around the globe or driving a tank down Fifth Avenue in New York to introduce Virgin Cola to the United States, Richard always delivers the unexpected. He could get by with the expected press release and press conference, a press conference or two, and some swanky party and call it a day. But instead, he goes for the astonishing. He probably spends as much as, and sometimes even less than, other companies do to launch the product. He just does it in unexpected style. The wow factor makes a statement and multiplies the impact of his efforts. More often than not, the extra effort doesn't cost that much more money or energy. When I was selling real estate, everyone else could call on expired listings when they came up. Instead, I got in my car and showed up on their doorstep and hand delivered a sold sign. Take this, I'd say when they'd open the door. You'll need it if you hire me to take over this listing. For the price it took to keep my gas tank full, I immediately and exponentially increased my chance of getting the listing. Recently, Alex, a friend of mine, was up for a big job. He lives in California and the job was in Boston. He was one of the final 12 candidates. They were going to interview local candidates in person and those out of the area via video conferencing. He called me asking if I knew how to facilitate a web camera video conference. How badly do you want this job? I asked him. It's my dream job, Alex told me. It's everything I've spent 45 years preparing to do. Then get on a plane and show up in person, I said. No need, Alex said. They're flying in the final three for a last interview. Listen, I told him, if you want to be in that final three, you should separate yourself by doing the unexpected. Fly across the country on a moment's notice and show up in person. That's how you make a statement. If I set my sights on something, I'm going to ensure success by going all in and all out. I launch what I call shock and awe campaigns. During the same job hunt, I suggested Alex pull out all the stops, attack from every possible front, and do it relentlessly. Research all the decision makers, I told him. Find out their interests, hobbies, kids' hobbies, spouses' hobbies, neighbors' hobbies, etc. Send them books, articles, gifts, and other resources that you think they might like. Is that over the top? Heck yes, that's the point. They'll they'll know you're trying to butter them up, but they'll appreciate your gumption and creativity. You'll certainly get their attention and most likely their respect. Then I continued, research all the people in the organization. Take that list and run it by your entire network to see if they know anyone who might know someone in this organization. Search every name against your LinkedIn database. Find a few people to connect with. Talk to them and ask them to put in a good word for you. Send them gifts, notes, and other things, and ask them to hand deliver these things to the decision makers. Phone, email, fax, text, tweet, Facebook, etc. them during the process. Could this be overly aggressive? Heck yes. But I have found that you may out lose 1 out of 5 for being too aggressive, but you get the other 4. By the way, Alex did not take my advice, and he did not get the job. He didn't even get to be in the final 3. I can unequivocally say he was a far better choice than the person the organization hired. But Alex failed to make an impression, and it cost him his dream job. I'm not the board of a company that needed a congressman to sign off on a piece of legislation, legislation, legislation that affected whether this company could move forward on an important project. This guy wasn't budging, not because of the actual issue, but because of a political act. He was grinding against others who publicly favored the issue. Instead of making a more futile appeals to sway him, I suggested we go above his head and talk to his boss, his wife. We went through our network until one person led us to someone who was friends with his wife. We then waited for her outside following a church service she attended and had her friend introduce us. We explained our important case and cause, which was to build an after school facility in an impoverished neighborhood that would affect the lives of hundreds of children if her husband would support it. Needless to say, he signed on by Tuesday that following week, and the company got its project. In our attention deficit, propaganda saturated society, sometimes doing the unexpected is required to get your voice heard. If you have a cause or ideal worthy of attention, do what it takes, even the unexpected, to make your case heard. Add a little audacity to your repertoire. Do better than expected. Invisible Children, www.invisibleChildren.com. Another nonprofit for which I'm a board member, helps rescue and recuperate children who have been abducted and made soldiers in northern Uganda and the Congo. To gain awareness of their cause, they staged a 100-city event called The Rescue, where more than 800,000 young people camped outside until prominent leaders of the community came to rescue them, thus gaining their attention and support. After 4 days, all but one city had been rescued, having people like U.S. Sens. Ted Kennedy and John Kerry, Val Kilmer, Kristen Bell, and many others show up in 99 other cities. The last city to get rescued was Chicago, and it required Oprah. After 6 days, Oprah was a no-show. On the fourth day, the they organized a march that went around and around her studios. The next day, they put on a singing and dancing presentation that went on all day and night. Then the sixth day, having endured harsh weather and sleeping in the rain, the more than 500 participants surrounded her studio and stood in silence holding signs starting at 3:30 a.m. That morning, Oprah walked out the doors of Harpo Studios, spoke with the organization's founders, and invited the entire group to participate in a live broadcast segment that morning on her more than 20 million viewers. That attention got Invisible Children on Larry King Live and 232 other news outlets to reach a total of more than 65 million people. A bill is currently moving through Congress supporting Invisible Children's efforts to save these children. The organization has already pulled off more than expected and the rescue event, but the little extra gumption and steadfastness to capture that last city and the attention of Oprah gained Invisible Children its biggest advocate to date, multiplying its results many times over. Find the line of expectation and then exceed it, even when it comes to the small stuff, or maybe especially then. Whatever I think the dress standard is going to be for any event. For example, I always choose to go at least one step above it. When I am unsure of the attire, I always err on the side of dressing better than I suppose the occasion calls for. Simple, I know, but it's just one way I try to meet my standard to always do and be better than expected. When I do keynotes for large companies, I spend a considerable amount of time preparing, learning about their organization, products, markets, and their expectations for my talk. My goal is always to significantly surpass what they expect. And I do this throughout tireless preparation. Doing better than expected because becomes a big part of your reputation. Your reputation for excellence multiplies your results in the marketplace many times over. I did some work with a CEO whose philosophy was to pay people, including his vendors and suppliers, a few days in advance of the contract commitment. I was always blown away when I received a check on the 27th of the month from him for next month's payment. When I asked him about it, he said the obvious. It's the same money, but the surprise and good it will bu- it buys is immeasurable. Why wouldn't you? This is one of the reasons why I admire Steve Jobs so much. Of all the sensational people we've featured on the cover of Success, Jobs is one of my favorites. Whatever your expectations are about the next Apple product launch, Jobs always has a little or a lot of something extra to wow you. In the grand scheme of things, it might be only a minor addition, but even so, it's better than expected and multiplies the impression and response from his customers and deepens their loyalty. In a world where most things don't meet expectations, you can significantly accelerate your results and stand out from the pack by doing better than expected. I like the boldness of what Robert Schuller told us in his success feature December 2008. Say no idea is worthwhile if it doesn't start with wow. Nordstrom is famous for this standard. When it comes to customer service, they always strive to do better than expected. Nordstrom has been known to take back an item that a customer bought more than a year ago without a receipt, and in some cases purchased at a different store. Why would they do that? Because they know exceeding expectations builds trust and creates customer loyalty. As a result, they've developed an extraordinary reputation that continues to attract attention. After all, I'm reminding you of it here. The multiplier keeps growing. I challenge you to adopt these philosophies in your own life, in your daily habits, disciplines, and routines. Give a little more time, energy, and thought to your efforts, or to your efforts won't just improve your results, it will multiply them. It takes very little extra to be extraordinary. In all areas of your life, look for the multiplier opportunities where you can go a little further, push yourself a little harder, last a little longer, prepare a little better, and deliver a little bit more. Where can you do better and more than expected? When can you do the totally unexpected? Find as many opportunities for wow, and the level and speed of your accomplishments will astonish you and everyone else around you. Put the compound effect to work for you. Summary action steps. When when do you hit your moments of truth? Making prospecting calls, exercising, communicating with your spouse or kids, identify so you know when to push through to find new growth and where you can separate yourself from others and your old self. Find three areas of your life where you can you do extra. Weightlifting reps, calls, recreation, sentiments of appreciation, etc. Identify three areas in your life where you can beat the expectations. Where and how can you create wow moments? Identify three ways you can do the unexpected. Where can you differentiate from what is common, normal, or expected?